Hi, Jeremy. Good to see you, man. Thanks for showing up. I was hoping we could discuss koshas a bit this afternoon. I know that it's been a really instrumental and important uh, practice or framework for my own study of yoga, and it's allowed me kind of an entry point into this larger philosophical concepts as well as practices and building a kind of framework to understand yoga in a deeper way. And I know you and I are doing a workshop here shortly around that. And I'm hoping that you could just share with people your perspective on the koshas. And first off, what are they, and how why they're relevant to yoga practice? What's your angle on that?
Yeah, Koshas for me had really been a game changer in terms of practice. I was always interested in yoga. Like, what's the big picture? From my very first 200-hour training, I want the biggest picture of yoga I can have. Because if the purpose is to bring things together or to, bring a sense of integration to mind and body and all the other layers, how can we do it most effectively? And when I started to learn about the kosha model, then it became clear, like, oh, this is, the kosha model basically says that um, as a human being, we're embodied in 5 distinct sheaths of experience. We know, of course, we have a physical body. We know, of course, we have a mind, but there's more layers than just those two. In the kosha model, there's really 3 layers to the mind, 2 of which we are interfacing with all the time. And of course, we have a physical body. And even between those two, we have what's known as the subtle body, or the body of prana. And when we work with the koshas in yoga practice, it's really a way that we start to understand there are distinctions in these sort of different dimensions of how we experience life, and certainly how we experience yoga practice. And rather than just isolating one, like saying, I'm going to work on the physical body, we recognize that, well, when I do things to my physical body, it does actually affect my mind. It also affects, the subtle body, or the body of breath. It affects my breathing.
Mhm.
And we can start to see that there are many different things at play when we practice yoga. And rather than just tending to one, we can start to build more of an expanded self-awareness through tools and techniques that allow us to address each one. So as we're practicing this thing called yoga, there's a more comprehensive way for addressing these different layers, and even the way that they interrelate. Because when we start to influence one, it will in some way start to influence the others. So if we're looking for strength or peace or focus or whatever, the more layers that we can bring into our sphere of practice simultaneously, the greater the impact and the effect that we'll have coming out.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not just a conceptual thing, right? Like, oh,
Exactly.
these are things that we can actually approach and make a connection with. And it's really the exploration or the spelunking part of yoga practice where we can peel into deeper layers of our person and create a greater synthesized wholeness that gets to live and express itself also in the outside world as well. So there's a real applied, applicable, or utility to exploring the kosha model. And what would you offer people as a suggestion, a place to get started? Right, I have some interest. Sounds intriguing. What can I do in my own home practice that's already established to begin to explore or apply kosha theory and practice?
That's a great question, because obviously in the workshop, we're going to look at specific tools and specific ways for addressing them. But in terms of, what people could do immediately, is to realize that there are all of these different layers to experience. And so when we go to yoga, the body can really be the framework, or our asana practice, the postures that we practice, is really a framework for self-discovery, meaning discovery of these different layers of experience, which, like you said, it's a very applicable model. I find it very tangible, because it's not proposing something fantastic that we sort of have to believe in as, well, maybe I'll have an experience of that someday. It's basically creating a model of the different layers of experience that we have in every single moment. So I would say, things that we could do immediately would be just develop your own self-awareness in practice. When you practice, be aware not just of this sort of agenda of I'm trying to refine the body, perfect this posture, but as I'm in this posture, as I'm endeavoring toward, perhaps an ideal position, what are the many layers of experience that I'm having? What are the sensations that I'm having? How am I breathing when I'm in this posture? What are the thoughts that are going through my mind in this posture? And really start to get a sense of the fact that there's all this intermingling of different experiences, and just start to develop a sensitivity to them, more awareness of them, rather than just yoga being this conceptual thing that the mind is trying to squeeze the body into. But instead, it's more like the body becomes a window into recognizing, oh, there are so many different things happening when I practice asana. And how can I just start to expand my attention from one thing or one part of the body into the whole sphere of experience?
Right. That's such a cornerstone. And so many yoga teachers speak to those ideas as well, right? Be more aware of your breath, or notice how you're thinking, or let go.
Right.
These kinds of ideals that, and what I hear in that is it points to something pre-existent. Right.
Mm.
There's a reason so many teachers are talking about that, because it's a universal phenomenon that all these components of our person are woven together. And how do we then purify or create more harmony in the system? And I guess that's where we're heading next, right? We'll take
Yeah.
4 sessions to really tease apart the koshas and take them apart and put them back together, a deeper exploration into their full scope. So thank you, Jeremy. I look forward to joining you in
I'm super
mid-February here. We
excited.
started with the kosha workshop. It's offered on a pay what you can basis. So that's a real win-win for the public and the community. That's always important in our work at Underground. And thank you, brother. Look forward to doing it. You
Thank
find
you,
you can find
Derek. Yeah, I'm super.
a link around here somewhere.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. I look forward to it.
Okay. Peace.
Peace.